Reports are circulating about Project PJN-1, a Russian initiative allegedly turning pigeons into brain-controlled surveillance drones. While the specific project is unverified, the underlying science of neuromodulation, steering animals via brain implants, is very real and has been lab tested. If this is viable, this creates the ultimate stealth drone, a surveillance device that creates no electronic signature and looks exactly like nature, making it virtually impossible to detect or jam. What do you think about this, John?
So I don't know if you watch the show Fallout based on the video game, but this reminds me of that. There's this little implant that goes in the back of people's necks and they can be controlled and all that sort of stuff. So that kind of reminded me of this. So this is crazy. It's kind of cruel to me. So what they're doing is they're implanting these microscopic stereotactic neurosurgery. Stereotactic. So it's a precision technique that coordinates in the brain to guide instruments during implantation. So once the electrodes are in place, they're connected to a tiny electronic stimulator fixed on the bird's head. And when activated, the device itself sends mild electrical impulses to targeted neurons, which are associated with motor functions, which the company says can prompt directional behavior, like turn left or turn right, by subtly influencing the bird's natural flight instincts. So the neural implant doesn't fully override the bird's autonomy. Instead, it nudges its motivational systems so that the controlled responses are integrated with its existing behavior patterns. So in effect, the stimulation biases the bird's choices, which is a strategy closer to behavioral steering than direct mechanical control, as in electronic drones, right? So this kind of scares me. The electrodes, in order to power all this, though, the electronics, they're carried in a solar-powered backpack, which is strapped to the pigeon's body. And so the miniature pack itself, it contains a navigation controller and GPS hardware to pinpoint real-time location, and a camera on the goose's chest for mission data capture. This just icks me. So the GPS itself, it's crucial because not only for tracking, but to feed the positional data to the controller so that the operator can monitor the bird's progress relative to predefined waypoints. So I don't like this. To me, this is cruel. It's cool, but cruel. What do you think about this, Craig?
Well, yeah, I mean, any sort of experimentation on animals that isn't furthering the longevity of humanity or the animals themselves has got to be questionable. So this is obviously not doing those things. So we're not trying to solve a brain problem or neurology issue in humans that we can fix. We're just hijacking someone's brain, which might lead to hijacking humans. So, obviously I'm against it. Unlike rat bots, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, that use training and conditioning, this system suggests control without prior dieting routines that say, here's a treat for doing your reward. Here's a treat for you doing the reward. The thing is, strap this thing onto a bird and off you go. They don't get that treat reward system. And expert opinion notes that fine control via brain simulation in flying animals is still very hard. I like to think of the technology like using a laser pointer with a cat. You aren't driving the animal like a remote control car with a steering wheel. Instead, you're stimulating their brain to create an intense desire or a phantom signal that tricks them into wanting to turn left or turn right. You don't pilot the bird, hijack its motivation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I need just to put this in, but there's multiple reports that note that the independent scientific verification of NERI's flight and control capabilities has not been confirmed. So most of the details come from company statements rather than peer-reviewed publications or independent demonstrations. So we cover a lot of stuff on here. So at times a lot of stuff is improvement, or a lot of times a lot of stuff is theoretical. So just as a note, like, these capabilities should not be treated as claimed. It should be treated as claimed but not proven, if that helps, just to put that note in there.
Yeah, that's a good note. Like, again, if this is truly a pigeon spy drone situation, they probably wouldn't be publishing papers. So take that for what it's worth. Like, our military wouldn't be, would they? They'd be pretty secretive about it. So just saying, I'm not quite sure how it all leaked out and what they're saying, but it really leads you to think, if they can start doing this, it's like every sci-fi where they're controlling, I can't help myself, and they're controlling a person at some point. And, the custom backpack containing a GPS camera and solar interface, that it's funny but hilarious. Now we've got suicide bombers in the form of pigeons.
Yeah.
Just, when you're close enough to the thing, they blow up. It's scary. We live in this world. But I gotta wonder, except for spy maneuvers, the blow up thing, it's probably easier and cheaper to do cardboard drones and stuff versus trying to do surgery brain implant on pigeons and then train them for a short bit and then do it. It's just probably easier to go the other way.
It makes sense that they use pigeons because pigeons naturally have these homing whatever. Like you can send a message, and people used to use pigeons to send messages. So it makes sense that they would experiment with pigeons, but this is cruel and scary from a future tech perspective as far as next steps in humans, right?
Yeah, and I just want to point out a few facts before people say you guys are crazy conspiracy theorists or what have you. So let's talk about some things that have happened in the past. During WW2, B.F. Skinner developed Project Pigeon, which attempted to use pigeons inside missiles to guide them by pecking at targets on a screen. The military canceled it, but the birds were shockingly accurate. Inside a missile, I have a pigeon that poked objects on the screen that were colored a certain way so if things moved and the target moved on the screen, the pigeon would poke at it and the missile would hit it. Just saying, these things have happened in the past. Fact 2, the CIA actually tried this in the 1960s with Acoustic Kitty. They implanted a microphone and transmitter into a cat to spy on the Soviets. The project cost millions and ended abruptly when the cat was reportedly hit by a taxi on its first field test. And you can actually buy do-it-yourself cyborg kit legally right now. A company called Backyard Brain sells Robo Roach kit that lets students control our cockroaches' movements via a smartphone app via micro stimulation. So, doubters, say what you want, but the technology is out there and has existed for a while.
That's scary. I don't like that at all. But I'm not surprised that this is happening, right? So yeah, it's just this is one of those that just makes me uncomfortable.
Bio drones or bionic pigeons are a terrifying concept right now. The laws of physics and animal ethics are keeping them grounded in a lab for now, but would you ever trust a delivery service run by cyborg pigeons? Or does it sound like a horror movie waiting to happen? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think.
What do you got going on, John?
Just plugging away, helping companies with government funding, attending events, probably startup drinks or a Flowgrammer event. How about you, Craig?
Lots of stuff going on. I honestly don't know when this is going out. I have to check. I think it's going to go out in April. But there's all sorts of stuff going on. If you don't know about OpenClaw, it's the latest AI automation agent that's taken the world by storm in 2026. And OpenClaw Toronto chapter just launched, and we have all sorts of events going on. So check out openclawto.com. Our first demo night is April 14th. We have a Builder Cafe on April 10th. We have a bunch of other events. There's updates every day. We've deconstructed the latest 2 betas over the weekend that was launched in OpenClaw and what you should do about them. There's a bunch of articles over there. Go check that out. We're also over at flowgrammer.ca where we do N8N automations. We run the Flowgrammer community and do Builders Hub and connectivity for AI and business automation agents. And for everything else, head over to Toronto Starts where we hook up startups and investors at our Startup Investor Drinks. We do mentoring. We do workshops. We have a list of investors. There's a whole bunch of content over. You can also book me over there if you want a meeting with me to talk about whatever, help your startup. Check out torontostarts.com. But John, if people are looking for non-dilutive funding, where should they go and what is that?
Yeah, non-dilutive funding. We're talking government grants, tax credits. Come find me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. Right now is shred time, SRNED. But come reach out to me too if you've got a startup, if you've got a company. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and if they have company questions about their startup in general, where do they find you, Craig?
Yeah, find me at torontostarts.com. But John, just before we go, something's open right now, and it's closing May 31st. Thank you. Can Export. And what?
Yeah. So
what
if
should
you have
people
at
know
least
about that?
300,000 in revenue in the previous year, and you're looking to expand outside of Canada, reach out to me and we can put together. We can talk about an application for Can Export.
All the links we talked about will be in the show notes wherever you're watching this. Thanks for watching, everybody. Leave us a comment, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.